Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News, and we have Ben Higgins reuniting with ex Lauren Bushnell Lane. That's right, she's married to rock star Chris Lane. Country star, rock star, cover band star. I don't really know. We'll get into it. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes bonus content going live this morning, 10:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also Bachelor Rush Hour every afternoon, the podcast you guys never asked for, but I delivered. No, some of you guys did. But we got 3,000 of you loyal daily listeners, and let's keep growing that extra unique content, giving it to you over there, Bachelor Rush Hour, the podcast. So this is an interesting story. It's not groundbreaking, but Ben reunites with Lauren for the first time because he was at the same golf tournament as she was. Oh, you hate to see this happen. What's funny about it is we get to hear Chris Harrison tell the story because he's interviewing Ben Higgins on his podcast. First, let's listen to what
he was there
Ben Higgins said on Almost Famous, his podcast.
This weekend with us. So was Chris Lane, who is married to Lauren Lane, formerly Lauren Bushnell, who obviously I know well. I was nervous. I haven't seen Lauren since we split. How often do you want to run into your exes?
To answer the question, how often do you want to run into your exes? What's less than zero? There's a reason you're not together still. But, of course, the world is relatively small, and every once in a while, you've got to put in your earbuds and pretend like you didn't see somebody. Hey, that's why sunglasses were invented in the 1300s, so that, King Henry I didn't have to run into, his ex. Well, maybe that's why he beheaded them. I don't know. Do I have the right people? Hey, look, there's a reason we left the monarchy here, so we don't have to remember which King Henry was, whatever. All right. So anyway, here's what Chris Harrison has to say.
Welcome back to the most dramatic podcast ever. Chris Harrison here in Orlando with two very good friends, Ben Higgins and Wells Adams. So we arrived.
By the way, these dramatic pauses that Chris Harrison does not work with my energy level. It is so slow. Sometimes I think it's buffering and it's just him taking a breath. Take a big breath like us, have a coffee, and say it all in one sentence.
Last Tuesday. For this event. Before I get on the plane, I get a text message from Ben Higgins in the locker room. And it's our lockers. They're nice enough to give you lockers at this event. It says Chris Harrison on the locker. It says Ben Higgins on the locker.
Makes sense.
Alphabetical. Yeah, alphabetical order. Yeah.
So
Next to Ben Higgins is Chris Lane, country music star. Do I need to explain who Chris Lane is in this whole thing? What's the thumbnail sketch of this?
I think you probably have listeners outside of Bachelor Nation. I think it's important to explain the whole situation.
Okay, I will try to explain this very quick. This is the 30,000-foot flyover. Ben Higgins was the Bachelor at one point. He was engaged to a very nice woman named Lauren. Mm-hmm. They broke up amicably, and Lauren has since gotten married and had children with country music star Chris Lane. And we are all together here at the golf tournament in Orlando, and his locker is right next to Ben Higgins.
Yeah. Awkward. And when you say right next to it's right next to mine. Before this tournament, I haven't seen Lauren since we broke up. I don't think I've seen her once. And obviously life now has moved far beyond that relationship, but that relationship still is an important season or,
Can you imagine this for Ben Higgins' wife, She's like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm actually golfing next to my ex that I met and banged on a reality show next to her new country star husband. So it's kind of like, the drama does kind of follow you when you've been on the show.
Time in my life. And so I would be lying if I wasn't a little anxious about the idea of, being at this tournament with Lauren and Chris, and then also Lauren's family, who I imagined was going to be coming down.
Yeah.
And no matter what, we're all adults. So I wasn't worried about the outcome or how we would handle it. I was mostly just saying, hey, this is a fun week of golf. This is going to feel odd. That first run-in, like, what's that going to be like? I don't know if anybody out there, and maybe I'm wrong, is like super jacked to see somebody who they've split ways with in their life, amicably, but they split ways with them. So I was anxious about it. And then to walk into the locker room and see that, we're going to be definitely running into each other. Like there's some people this term I haven't seen yet at all.
Right.
I haven't seen them ever. But no, we're gonna be putting our shoes on,
changing together, showering together, saunaing together. So I have
let me be the first to tell. If you run into your ex's new husband in the showers, let me just get it all out there. You're gonna look at their dick. I'm sorry. You're gonna size them up. You're just look. It's in the unfortunate ego of the male psyche. You're gonna be like, what's he doing? How strong are his calf muscles? How's the lats? You know, does he have hairy nipples? You're gonna just look at all these things. It's what you do. So
many things, and there's another great story coming up about dinner. But just to give you the details, Lauren is not here. She didn't come. She's, I believe, home with the kids. Lauren's dad is here. I talked to him.
So when Chris Harrison says Lauren did not come, he means his Lauren Zima, not Lauren Bushnell.
I talked to Chris, and
I feel like a good podcast host would differentiate the two, but here we are.
And his brother, his twin brother, is here caddying for him, and Lauren's dad is here. He came up and said hi to me as well. But as far as when we would run into them, it happened the first night. Mm-hmm. Wells and Ben and I are at the bar here at this beautiful hotel, and sitting 2 feet away at the bar is Chris Lane, his bandmates, and his brother. And you're right there. Mm-hmm. Did you guys have a moment? Did you say hello, hug it out?
Well, I mean, I'm sure for him, he obviously knows our history as well.
I would think so.
So right away, I saw him. He didn't see me. So he was kind of had his head turned, and I walked up and I said, "Hey, Chris, good to see you." I had told Jessica, like, I wanted to say hi. I mean, one,
right.
There's a lot of things to congratulate him on.
Two children, by the way. Congratulations to Chris and Lauren. God bless them.
And he's down here at the golf tournament for the first time. This is my 4th year, so I'm kind of a vet at this. And so I told her, I was like, if I see him, I'm just going to go say hi, because I would like to say hi anyways. And so I did. I just walked up and I said, "Hey, Chris." And I will tell you, it has been nothing but great. It's been nice to talk to him. It's not been the only time I've talked to him.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you become friends with him and you're like, "Oh, this guy's a really cool guy."
Right. There's been 4 or 5 now run-ins and encounters, and we talk golf, and then Lauren's dad and I were able to catch up. He actually said hi to me. I walked past him and he said, "Ben," which felt really good.
Did he grab you and say, "I wish it was you, Ben"?
Son,
no,
come home.
Definitely not. Yeah,
come home.
100% not. No, I think he's very happy with where his life shook out. But yeah, there's just a lot to break down. It's hard to explain that moment and how to handle it well. But I will tell you, Chris was really nice, and it's been fun to be around them at this tournament, and I'm glad we did it. Like when you go through a breakup, there's always that moment where like the Band-Aid gets ripped off afterwards, mm-hmm. and then you can start to heal. I didn't even know, but they kind of felt like that a little bit too, where it's just like, okay, if Lauren comes down tomorrow, I don't know if she is or not, and I run into her, it will be good to see her. Like, it will be nice to just like say, okay, we've done this next chapter of our lives.
Right.
No.
You disagree?
No way, man. If my ex-girlfriend was here, I'd be like, I do not want to see them at all.
Yeah, I agree with Wells. It's just one of those things where it's like you either have to rip the Band-Aid off and get it out of the way, or just avoid them the whole time. And it's like I probably would have that avoidant personality. If I'm at the mall and I see that I see on Instagram an ex is at the mall, I'm going to avoid them at all costs. If you're at the same vacation kind of work trip together, same influencer trip, kind of hard to avoid each other. You almost want to get it out of the way at the fruit bar early on and then just be done with it. You know what I mean? That way you don't have that anxiety the whole weekend. But it's a tough, either way, it's one of those like,
You're just too nice of a guy.
Well, I don't know if like you would have said, "Hey, what's your preference?"
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Like like, is your preference that you're going to be hanging out and having dinner, all of you at the same table
Like
again
none
one
of
day?
this is your dream scenario.
No,
this
gosh,
is
no.
this is a special event for you. I know you look forward to it all year, and for this to have happened, I know this isn't the dream scenario, but as Wells just stated very accurately, you are a great guy, because what I noticed at the bar, the dynamic, and I was actually talking to Chris because I was at the bar ordering drinks for everybody. And Chris was there, so we sat there talking, and that he had been on the show before and catching up on the kids and how tired he's been because they have a newborn, and so. But to watch you could have easily ignored the situation, acted like the elephant was not in the room, because he didn't quite make eye contact. So it took you to walk over to do that. Not that he was ignoring you, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think he saw me.
You guys could have easily just ignored each other and acted like this thing didn't exist. And instead, you burst the bubble and just said, "Hey, man, good to see you."
Yeah. Well, and it also could have gone, when I said that, he could have been a jerk to me, and he wasn't. So
100%.
So it moves it to a healthy place. I could have walked up and be like, "Dude, don't talk to me." And then it would have been like, well, crap. Now though, we have 4 days of weirdness.
Right.
He didn't at all. It was it was a healthy interaction. No, I will admit that if you wrote down, "Hey, what's your dream scenario?" Like, this is a big event for me. My family's down here. My wife is down here. My friends are here. Like, I've dreamed of playing golf with Chris and Wells in one of these tournaments for 6 years. Like, it has been something that I've wanted to do, and I always wanted to do it here because this tournament is so fun to me. It's just a really good tournament, and it's a healthy atmosphere. And so to have that happen at this thing that I hold so sacred and special would not be ideal.
Be honest. Are you happy that Wells and I were here to witness this with you?
Yeah.
Or is this your biggest nightmare?
Yeah, both. Yeah, both. I'm glad that we can do this because now we can talk about it on a podcast, and I'm so thankful that we can give you content.
Yeah. No, yeah. I've been saying all week. Thank you, Ben. You're writing my podcast day after day.
Okay, get to the point. They're really milking this. I'm lactose intolerant here. Get to the point where you saw Lauren.
You've been adding, and I thought
Just
this,
fast forward.
and they didn't do it. Instead, the good thing is Wells and Ben got to play together. I was very jealous.
In 1980,
Then they do this iHeartRadio baloney where they do 15 ads in a row. Let's this isn't what podcasting's supposed to be.
and in a new
Some stupid advertisement
hotel
for some crime TV show that no one's going to watch.
We're here at Orlando for an amazing event, the LPGA Tour. Thank you to the LPGA Tour, by the way.
All right.
He's like, "I don't know who that is." So he looks him up and he finds a picture and he goes, "Whoa, look, his wife's pretty freaking hot. Look at her." And points the phone I'm sitting next to Ben, at me and Ben. And I had this look of utter terror. I was like, "I don't know if you're messing with us or not." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "You know who that is, right?" And he goes, "No, it's a hot chick." That's Ben's ex that he got engaged to on television.
And Wells didn't even do it full justice of how uncomfortable this moment was when this guy, and it was as if we were shooting this for television. Wells and Ben and I are lined up. So the three of us can see this guy when he turns the phone around and he says, "God, Chris Lane's wife she's a smoke show." And I'm like, I looked at Wells, I go, he's joking, right? And this guy's, "No, man, she's really hot." And I thought, this guy's either the smartest, most genius comedian I've ever met, or he's the dumbest human being. Turns out it's the latter, unfortunately. So he was going on and on about how hot Lauren was to Ben and Wells and I. And I finally just said, "Buddy, you got to stop talking. You got to shut up." Because he kept making it where he was trying to make it better. Because when you're really uncomfortable and you're like, "Oh, no, I mean, she's a smoke show. No, I really want to be with her. It's like, I want to take a bath." Where he's like, "Please stop talking. Just stop talking." And
I guess this is what they would call locker room talk here on the golf course that the good old boys are sharing with us here.
it got worse and worse and worse, Ben Higgins.
Yeah, again, I'm really thankful that this weekend that I love so much has been so good, and it has. I mean,
All right, so of course that's funny stuff. Ben, of course, had to deal with the sort of the fun weekend he wanted turned into something else. But hey, it caused some drama, and we can talk about it on the most dramatic podcast ever, Chris Harrison. All right, well, hey, look, Chris Harrison's. I mean, it's a couple good episodes so far. He's getting to share fun stories. Are they breaking news stories? No, it's just an interesting little tidbit as the sort of the lineage of Bachelor Nation continues, both on and off the golf course. So we've got Ben Higgins marrying somebody who wasn't in Bachelor Nation, and Lauren Bushnell marrying someone who also wasn't. And it looks like they're happy. That's all that matters. But of course, the world is small, the world is flat, and we will all rub elbows eventually. All right, folks, let me know what you think. More content coming your way right after this.